So if you've watched any YouTube video over the past few days here, you probably know that Overwatch is going to be free on console starting today, and that's big news. That's some great news in my opinion, because Overwatch is probably my favorite game so far of this past year. I've played quite a few games that have actually come out this year, and so far this one is the top of the pack. It's leading the race, and there's a few reasons for that. I just think it's mostly a really solid class-based multiplayer shooter, and it's definitely something different that we haven't seen since the likes of, say, Team Fortress 2 and other things like that. So if you are new to Overwatch and you have heard about it, you don't quite know what it is, you don't know if you want to pick it up, well, here's a little bit of info about it, and you can go in and get a bit of an edge, probably, hopefully, when you're playing it over this free weekend here if you have it on one of the consoles. It's not free on PC, unfortunately. I don't know why it's not, but it's just a thing for whatever reason, right? So what is Overwatch? Well, it's a 6v6 stack multiplayer class-based shooter that kind of blends a couple different genres together. Yes, it is a shooter, first and foremost, but it does have a few different things that it borrows from, say, Team Fortress 2, where you have different styles of heroes with different health and different abilities. These abilities, though, it kind of borrows from something more like, say, League of Legends or similar MOBAs to come out in the past couple of years. There's a lot of passives and activated abilities, things like being able to heal or maybe fire missiles depending on which characters you're playing and the like. So if you're going into this game, you're not going to be playing something like Call of Duty. It's going to be a game where you are going to run into things that are more powerful than you in certain situations. If you're playing, say, a healing class and you run into a DPS, a very high damage dealing hero, they are probably going to be able to outmatch you in terms of firepower. So really it comes down to working well together as a team rather than just trying to rack up those kills. However, you can still do that if that's what you're used to, and that's totally fine. The thing about Overwatch is that it has such a big and diverse roster of heroes. Very quickly you can find something that you are decently good at, and that can kind of become your main hero as you kind of learn the other ones as you play the game. So if you're thinking about checking it out, it's gonna be free this weekend, and there's a couple of heroes you should probably start out with, in my humble opinion. Now, I'm not an amazing Overwatch player or anything, but I've played my fair amount, and this is kind of the path I took to become, you know, not completely terrible and maybe semi-competent at the game. So the first hero that they start you out with in the tutorial mission is Soldier 76, and he is definitely the person that you should be starting out with if you come from other more generalized multiplayer shooters that have probably come out in the last few years here. He has a basic assault rifle. It shoots things. He has an alternate fire that shoots missiles on a cooldown, and that's pretty cool. He even has a healing ability as well that you can use to heal yourself by placing a device on the ground, and it will kind of heal any allies that walk within that circle area after he places it down for a certain amount of time, so that's always great. He's kind of a really good all-around damage-dealing hero to play as and kind of get used to the game with. You really can't go wrong choosing Soldier 76. Eventually you might want to start to branch out a little bit, so if you want to go into, say, a different type of damage dealer, I would definitely recommend trying Widowmaker, again, if you come from these other multiplayer shooters, because she is generally you'll be used to her sniper rifle. It works a lot like they do in other games. The only thing is that you have to scope in for a certain amount of time in order to get the full damage extent that it can deliver, and she's a little bit more maneuverable than Soldier 76 is. She's got a cool little grapple, and it grapples onto buildings and stuff. That's cool. Now, you may run into a situation where playing another damage dealer like Widowmaker or, say, Soldier 76 might not be the best option, and you might get people asking you to go play support. Now, don't worry, that's alright, it's okay. You don't have to be doing damage all the time, but if you want to do a little bit of damage still and kind of not have to worry about the heals so much, I think that the best support to kind of start out with is probably Lucio, because if you're worried about being able to heal everyone reliably, he's a lot easier to deal with as you learn how to play more of a support role in the background, because instead of actually trying to have to heal everyone individually and manage all that, you can literally just set it So with his alternate ability, that will just heal anyone that's kind of within your line of sight that's on your team, and that's really useful. His weapon isn't as great. You can kind of just spam it towards the enemy while you heal everyone up and kind of keep everything ready to go. Other than that, you may also be interested in a character like Zenyatta if you want to do some more damage heals. The only thing with him is that you need to kind of manage and notice when your allies are at lower health so that you can throw your healing orb at them, which will stay on them for a while, and that'll kind of heal them up at a bit faster rate than Lucio generally does, although you can only heal one person at a time. And if you ever get the inclination to play a tank, that's okay. I'd probably recommend starting out with Reinhardt and learning how to use him decently well, even if you only want to use his shield. That's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Blocking the enemy fire can be just as valuable as damaging them directly. And he does have a ranged attack that he can fly and dish out there every now and then. And if someone is stupid enough to walk over to you, just like whack them with your giant hammer. Now that being said, you absolutely don't have to use all those heroes that I mentioned. You can use whatever you want to play the game however you want. I would also recommend going into the training ground as well, because that's going to allow you to kind of get used to some of the different characters' abilities, say like Tracer's blinking and Reaper's plethora of different activative abilities and things like that. The one thing I haven't touched on yet is ultimate abilities, which are super useful. You know when you get like a kill streak, something like Call of Duty or whatever? Like, remember the time when kill streaks where you get a giant chopper gun, then you're allowed to mow down everyone and kill everything? Yeah, it's kind of like that. Except, you know, you get things like, I'm going to heal up literally everyone on my team and make them basically unkillable for a few seconds, or I'm going to shoot freaking dragons at you. So those are all super powerful activated abilities that every character has after they deal enough damage or a certain amount of time passes. You'll get used to seeing and knowing when they're being used by both your allies and your enemies, as they have different voice cues that will let you know. Usually, though, you can tell when an ultimate is being used. Something crazy will happen on the battlefield. Like, there will be giant red dragons flying at you, and if that happens, you generally want to, you know, run away or not get in their way. So if you are interested in trying out Overwatch, like I said, it is free starting today, so you can go check it out on console. Go ahead and play it. Let me know what you think about it, too, if you go back there. Just come back over here. Let me know. I'll respond to all the comments I possibly can. I am PattyJack. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.